Alright, guys, let me know if you can hear me okay. I might need to turn the volume up a little bit. Let me know if you can hear me. Hey, Faithra. Hey, Ogrebones. Jescribano1. Good to see you guys. So I wanted to talk today about monster books. I've got lots of different monster books. Ooh, Daggerheart. Well, there's like books that have monsters in them. Hey, the Santing. I think that's Santurk. I've got a bunch of different monster books here. I'm not going to be able to look at all of them. And I've got a bunch more. Oh. So what I've been thinking about is what makes a good monster book. I think I know. I think I know what makes a good monster book. But I think I'm like 80% sure. So I want to review a bunch of monster books that I have, so that I can see, so I can make sure like the monster book that I'm making a monster book for Nimble. You can use it for 5e and OSR and other things too, probably. But I want to make sure the monster book that I'm making is as good as it possibly can be. I want to take the best things from the best monster books. I want to be inspired. I want to avoid the worst things from the different monster books. So this is what we're doing. And I've got a terrible habit of buying RPG things and being really excited about them, and then when they arrive, not reading them. So streaming my reading them, or at least flipping through, doing a cursory reading, I think is probably the best way to do it. And if you guys have any monster books that you'd like me to take a look at, I probably have it. Just let me know. And we could do a review of those. See what we like, see what we don't like from those. So let's see. I think this should work. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I just got Dolmenwood in most recently. So I think we're gonna start there. Monsters in context. I'm a little bit sick, so apologies about that. One thing that I really like is how the OSR OSE type of books, they use the in papers. I think this is like incredibly helpful. I don't know that most other books do. Let's see. Yeah, so like it's got like a cool little like logo thing on it, but it's not useful. But you'd be hard pressed to find like an OSR type of book that doesn't use the in papers really, really well. So I've already taken a highlighter to some of this. I've taken a cursory look, but it's really, really nice how we have monsters by type, monsters by level. So the same index, just two different ways. I really like that. Maybe some of this stuff could be useful. Maybe in the Game Master's Guide. So the most useful table for me that I use a lot is this monster builder table. So like maybe this could be the in papers, and then the back, I think using the in papers for like an index, I think would be really cool. So I really like that. And actually, let me share with you. Some notes that I have so far. So what makes a good monster book? Usability. I think usability is a really, really big thing. Obviously, you're buying a book and it has like a particular format, and like it needs to be able to be easy to run at a glance. A lot of so like if I'm not familiar with a system, like I don't know how I don't know how Dolmenwood works. I think it's largely D20 based. Like I'm not super familiar with Pathfinder, and if I open up one of these to like a huge air elemental, I wouldn't know what it does or what to do with it. And obviously, like, is that the fairest thing to do? No, but if I'm new to a TTRPG, if I'm new to some game, and I'm thinking like, yeah, maybe I could GM it, and then I open it up, and there is this metallic silver dragon. I look at it, and like, there's all of these different things, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't want to GM this game. Oh, actually, you guys can't see. So I open it up, and like there's like all of this stuff, and this is the pocket version. So it's I don't think it's usually this small, but um, sh- it should be as easy to understand to a newcomer as possible. I think is a really important, really important thing. Um, yeah. So is this the most newcomer friendly? You know, maybe not. Maybe not. That's not the only consideration. Like it has to be interesting for people who have been playing the game for a while. Also, like you can't only focus on the newbies, right? And I get that. So I'm not trying to criticize unduly. This is sort of like my opinion, obviously. So let's tweak some of these things. All my settings have gone all wonky. So I really like this. If we just open up to some of these, one of these first pages, what do I like about this? So I don't like. So we'll start with we'll do what I don't like, what I do like. So we'll do a little bit of both. MCDM's Flea Mortals monsters should be more than a bag of hit points. Are you saying the Flea Mortals are bags of hit points? I don't think they are. Like they're very complex. I think I think you're saying that was their philosophy. Like they should not simply be a bag of hit points. The flavor bonus abilities and encounter types are some of the best kind of the gym guide. Cool, thank you. Jess, I won't fight you over that. So I don't like that a single like individual monster takes up basically a whole spread, like 2 pages. Like if you take this and we open it up to we'll open it up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we could fit like a dozen monsters here, right? And they're not like a dozen like incredibly simple monsters. Like if they're super duper simple monsters, like you'd be able to fit like way more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you could fit like 20 or more monsters on just this space. So I don't like that it takes up a whole spread. But again, preference. I do like, it's very clear Antler Wraith. I like how each monster in this book has its own picture. I really like that. I think that's cool. Some of them are better than others, but I think that is really cool. I like that it has like a very brief lore. Sinister spirits made manifest as looming humanoids, cloaked in black with stag skull heads and bony claws, servants of grim forgotten gods doomed to haunt the rings of standing stones. I like that, a little bit wordy, but I do like that it's just like those 2 lines and not like a whole paragraph. Let me grab, not to criticize too much, of course, but I'm gonna grab my monster manual. Just to compare. Dolmenwood Monster Book, Forbidden Lands, Book of Beasts are the best for me. Yeah, let me grab. I think I have Forbidden Lands. Dragonbane, Forbidden Lands. All right, yeah, we'll look at that one. Thank you, JL. Is it in the Game Master's Guide? Yeah, there's monsters in there. We'll take a look at that one. Okay, so as far as clarity, so like we have one monster on this page, it is clear. And we have like just a very, the briefest thing. Whereas like we have like a flame skull, blah, 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 like lots of words. Yeah, it's cool art. Oh, yeah, it's really cool art. But like a lot of these guys, they've got there's it's just very wordy, like the lore bits, which I won't read. A lot of people love that. That's like a medium low importance to me. I'd rather have like one cool sentence and a cool picture than like a bunch of paragraphs of text. So I don't know what all of this means, but it's clearly laid out. But the stat block is rather long. Undead, silent before attacking, immune to biological effects, etc., etc. Immunities only harmed by silver weapons, magic, or magic weapons. So like immunities, all these special effects can be fine if you're like the whole party is facing one of these guys, or like maybe like a small handful of these guys and nothing else. But if like you're facing an antler wraith and a banshee and a couple of bog corpses, like and they all have their own immunities and things that are going on. Like now we're talking. You know, it's much more difficult to run and keep track of all of that stuff, both for the GM as well as for the players. This was something cool that I really did like. I don't remember what it was, but I highlighted it. Sinister silence. Within 60 feet of an antler wraith, sound is hushed and speech feels as if it disturbs something best left in peace. Characters casting spells have a 2 in 6 chance of failure. That's pretty cool. This spell is removed from memory of cast. I don't know what that means. Banshee. So one thing that I really like. Let's go here. One thing that I really like, a great monster book should inspire. Okay, it should inspire the GM's creativity. Traps, environments, cool art, combos, like that kind of stuff. It should give me like these vibes, like, oh, that sounds nasty. Like, oh, I would have run that tonight. Like I wasn't planning on running a Banshee, but when I read this Banshee, like now I really, really want to run it. It's like when you have something like this, Whale, once a night, all within 30 feet must save versus doom, just some sort of saving throw, or die. Oh, that's nasty, right? Okay, usable only during the hours of darkness. So like that kind of stuff, like having those little bits, like let's have more of that kind of thing, not things that just kill outright, but things that inspire like, oh, this is so rad. I wasn't planning on using goblins or vampires or whatever, but like now all of a sudden like they're beating some vampires, right? So that kind of thing. So let's pause with this one. I wanted to take a look at the Daggerheart one real quick. Dolmenwood monster book for Vinlands. Okay, we already read that one. Okay. So again, I have it. I've flipped through it briefly and then closed it. Adversaries and environments. I think that's where it is. Using adversaries. Adversary stat blocks 209. Yeah, so like in Nimble, it would be like lose all of your hit points or set your hit points to 0. So like one thing I don't like about the OSR, OSC type of things is like you spend all this time making a character and you get to know them and like you got a cool personality and like you're sort of attached and then like you just die. And like, okay, like that's not super fun. So like I don't mind if a monster is like unfair, but it should be like a fun kind of unfair and not like oh, that I'm just dead. All right. Well, I got a babysitter and drove out across town for nothing. That kind of stuff. I don't love that. Okay, let's see if we can zoom in. There we go. If I make this brighter, it might be able to be more clear. There we go. Let's see if that helps. That may or may not help. Okay. Let's look at what a juvenile flickerfly is. Never get attached to your OSR characters. Yeah, it's just a style of play that I don't enjoy. I think life is a little bit too cheap. I don't like the ones like super duper heroes where nothing can die. Nor do I like the ones where like, oh sorry, you rolled a 3 instead of a 4, you die. That kind of thing. Leisure monsters could, by definition, be seen as unfair. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Okay, Tier 2 solo. Horse-sized insect with iridescent scales and crystalline wings moving faster than I can see. Okay, that is actually a really good amount of... Okay, so like, looking at the art, I can't really tell. So look... Am I showing you? Yeah, I'm showing you guys everything. So looking at the art, I can't tell how big this is, right? But the first thing that I read, a horse-sized insect. Okay, like huge. So I like the amount. So the name, the tier, or I assume that would be like the level of it. And then like just the briefest of descriptions. Motives and tactics. Collect shiny things, hunt, swoop. Motives and tactics. Is that useful? That might be useful. Let's go to our notes. Let's finish going through the notes. Okay. It should be easy to run at a glance. Only useful information, no filler information. Brief lore, and I'll go ahead and make this brief lore. Tactics, how to make it easier or harder. Because I don't want my players to lose their heroes because like I looked at the wrong column on the monster builder chart or something, or I don't want them to die because it's my fault. I want them to die because it's their fault. So if I've overtuned an encounter, I want to be able to like sort of push it in one direction. Or if it's undertuned and like they found some cool combo, I want to be able to like push it just a little bit harder without cheating, without breaking things. Monsters who actually fight together rather than like, here's all the dragons, here's all the giants. I want, frost giants and frost trolls and goblins and coats, things that live up in the mountains in ice, and like, the frost giant can like, scare the frost trolls into, this and this and this, whatever. So like, rather than just like, all right, here's the giants page, I'll put a bookmark here, and then here's the troll page, I'll put a bookmark there, and then so like I have to like piece all these things together, and I'm flipping back and forth in the book. That's no good. So I want it organized to be with monsters that fight together, being together. So like you could have goblins because all the different goblins will fight together, but like you'll never have like 2 or 3 or 4 different kinds of dragons fighting the party, fighting together against the party, or like same with the giants and stuff. So a little bit smarter organization I think is good. A variety of encounters and mechanics. Land of Eem. Okay, I've got Land of Eem. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. My last suggestion, I promise, any of the Feral Indie Studio books, they cried monster into the weird world and the... Oh, I don't have those. I might have to get those. Hey, Emma. I'd be curious to hear thoughts on Colossus stat blocks and builder from the Drylands campaign frame in the Daggerheart book. All right, I'll make a note of that. I think I missed a couple. Mary Mushman's folklore bestiary is a fantastic source of interesting monsters and their histories, and include them, but it is very wordy. Yeah, I don't love the wordy stuff. Mary Mushman, I've heard that name before. I think by Ben Milton. I think he's talked about them a lot, and he really likes them. So that's cool. I don't think I have any of their stuff. Okay. A variety of encounters and mechanics. So like if we're like doing vampires, I don't want the very first vampire encounter to be like against the vampire. I want it to be against like, weaker, easier sort of vampire-y type of things, or their henchmen or their minions, so that like I as a GM, I can sort of get used to some, like, spooking the heroes and learning the mechanics, all this sort of stuff. But like if we're going to be running a whole session on vampires or a whole campaign on vampires, it can't just be like the same monster over and over again. Like how many times are you going to fight a frost giant and it feel fun? But if you're first, you're fighting, just the trolls, and now it's a troll and a big troll, and it's the frost giant general with his troll army, and like you have different, they have different abilities that can play off of each other. So a variety of encounters and mechanics, I think, is really important. It should also have bosses who just work completely different. Maybe they, are like they embody a really cool aspect, like different aspects of them, of the monster groups they represent. But it should have bosses also. Like just having like one super strong monster isn't a boss encounter. It should be easy to balance as well. It should inspire creativity. There should be traps and environmental things. Cool art really helps. Cool combos. It should be pre-prepped also. If I have to do a lot of work in order to run these monsters, like why did I pay you to buy your monster book? So it should have loot. It should have names. If they're going to be negotiating with these guys, it should have names. If they're going to be negotiating, it should have like what this like this juvenile flicker fly. Like it says, motives and tactics, collect shiny things, hunt soup. So I don't really care about its motives and tactics if I'm never if I'm never going to be negotiating with this thing. If it doesn't talk, I don't really care about its motives. In tactics, collect shiny things. That's not really a tactic. That's like, oh, I guess I'll attack whoever's the shiniest. That's kind of cool, but that's not really a tactic. Hunting and swooping. I don't know. That. This is a cool idea. Maybe the execution could be a little bit better. Quest hooks, like ooh, like so if we're making monsters that are so cool, like ooh, that sounds nasty. I need to run this tonight. All right, how about some quest hooks? How about some quest hooks? All right. Rather than making someone think about how to do that, just get like pre-prep it for them. It should be easy to balance. So like, oh, someone called and they said they can't make it tonight, or like, oh, one person said, you know, we're expecting 3, but one of them brought 2 of his friends. Um, so like now all of a sudden we've got like, you know, 5 people instead of 3. So like now the balance. So what are we gonna do? You could still use the same boss, the same legendary monster stat block. The adventure says like, you know, 2 goblins per hero. If there's 2 more heroes, just add, you know, 4 more goblins. Like it should just do that for you without me having to like look up a chart and recalculate all of this sort of stuff. I hate when sphinxes don't come bundled with fun riddles. Yes, 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 yes. And that's a great example. If this whole if this creature is all about making traps like goblins, you better have some traps. If it's a sphinx and their whole shtick is riddles, give me some riddles and not some common ones. Give me some good ones. Have you ever tried Draw Steel? I ordered the big Mungo Chungo box and it hasn't arrived yet. I don't really like reading PDFs and stuff. I have not tried it. I've looked at I've like very casually been following some of it, but not really. Um, I, I don't really like reading RPG stuff. What a job to have. Um, okay, easy balance. So the vibes, it sounds nasty. Ooh, I need to run this tonight. But what is the anti-goal? What do I want to avoid? When would I ever use this? Like when would I ever use a juvenile flicker flight? Not just for example, like this one actually sounds cool. Like where would it be useful to have some dragonfly thing that is as big as a horse? Sorry guys. Or like if like I'm reading an ability and like I don't get it. Like why would I ever use this ability? So like a lot of like I play Magic sometimes. A lot of Magic cards are like discard your whole hand. Like why would I ever discard my whole hand? But like once you like combo that with like this card and this card, and then like, oh, discard your whole hand, and then like, you know, this, like now these other things happen. So that sort of thing should be spelled out. Like if this monster has one like really strange ability, but it only works if you combo it with this other monster, then you should say like, hey, this monster works really good with this other monster. Use them together, and then X, Y, and Z will happen. Like, ah, okay. So we want to make sure any of these sort of subtleties are explained. This could have been email in the business area. Like if a lot of times people will like schedule a meeting and take up a half an hour of your time when it could have just been an email. Like, hey, where's the file? Or like, you know, what do you think about this? But people take like, I don't want a monster book to take up all of my time when it could have just been like one bullet point, right? Or like this is confusing. Like we don't want to confuse anybody. Okay, so those are some of my notes, and let's add here possibles. We'll just do this because I'm not sure if we want to add this, but these are sort of cool ideas. Motives and tactics. Tactics. Thank you, Google. Or like the Quick Monster Builder and the Nimble GMG. Can we expand it? Like adding a list of unique flavor abilities, passive abilities. Sure. Yeah. Other fun things in a monster manual could include optional but cool mounts, pets, monstrous ancestries, a menu. Okay. When would I ever use this also applies to complete uses abilities like Y stick attack D4. Yes, 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 yes. It's not only like taking up space, like it's it's slowing me down, right? It's in the way. And to be fair to Wizards of the Coast, they did fix a lot of that in some of the more recent monster manuals. Let's keep reading this juvenile flickerfly. Difficulty 14, thresholds 1326. I don't know what that means. HP 10, stress 5, attack wing slash very close. Okay, so if you knew how to play Daggerheart, which I don't, then, you know, presumably all of this would make sense. But it is at least laid out in a clear manner. We'll make this just a little bit closer for you guys. Features, Relentless 3, passive. The Flickerfly can be spotted up to 3 times per GM turn. Spend fears usual to spotlight them. Peerless accuracy, passive. So I feel like the action things and passive things should maybe look a little bit different because like 1, 2, 3, 4, it just sort of looks like 4 of the same kinds of things. So these are his passive abilities. Before he makes an attack, roll a d6, 4 or higher. The target's evasion is halved against this attack. You could probably say that in fewer words. Mind Dance, action. Mark a stress. Create a magically dazzling display that grapples the minds of nearby foes. All targets within close range must make an instinct reaction roll. Okay, so like for this, I would rearrange all of this. Like, start with all targets within close must make an instinct reaction roll. Like, start with that, right? As their minds are magically dazzled, blah 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 blah. So like, I'm telling you guys what, like, I'm running this, I'm reading all of this, and everybody's just sort of sitting there waiting on me. But if I read this first, all targets within close range must make an instinct reaction roll. Maybe bold or underline instinct reaction roll, because that's the first bit of useful information I'm wanting, right? So they can grab their die and they can look up, whatever their instinct reaction roll is or whatever this. For each target who failed, you gain a fear in the flicker fly. Learns one of the target's fears. What? Okay. Hallucinatory breath reaction. Countdown. When the Flickfly takes damage for the first time, activate the countdown. When it triggers, the Flickfly breathes hallucinatory gas on all targets in front of them. Up to far range targets must succeed on an instinct reaction roll. Okay, so it's using both of the abilities are using the same thing. Sometimes that could be good, but sometimes it could be like here, this one makes a strength save and this one makes a dex save, just to sort of change it up. Targets must succeed on an instinct reaction roll or be tormented by fearful hallucinations. What does that mean? Targets whose fears are known to the Flickfly have disadvantage on this roll. Targets who fail must mark as stress and lose hope. Okay. I don't know. Let's go to the very beginning of this and see if some of these different things are sort of explained a little bit. Oh, juvenile Flickerfly. Okay, so this is a solo thing. Okay. Just like having a lot of blank. I guess we could zoom out a little bit again. Having a lot of blank space on the page it maybe could be fixed a little bit. Yeah. At least turning some of it into spot art. Improvising adversaries, tier 1 adversaries. So I do like that they at least have a lot of a lot of monsters on the page. I don't like that. Like, will you ever play with an acid burrower and a bear together? So I don't know how Daggerheart works. Like, are you always just fighting one monster at a time? I guess probably not, since these are, this is a solo and this is a skulk. They're sort of just in alphabetical order rather than like a more useful organization. Glass snake, that sounds cool. I do like that. Let's see what a glass snake is, because that art is cool. Tier 1 serpent. Standard. Sorry, not serpent. And we'll look at that one thing that someone recommended, the Colossus stat block. Motives and tactics: climb, feed, keep distance, scare. Okay. Armor shredding shards passive. On a successful attack within melee range against the snake, the attacker must mark an armor slot without receiving its benefit. They can still use armor to reduce the damage. If they can't mark an armor slot, they must mark an initial HP. Okay, so when something attacks as a melee, they take some damage. Like, yeah, you like. I feel like we should be able to say this kind of thing in fewer than 5 lines. Spinning Serpent. Mark stress. Make an attack against all targets within very close. Targets the snake. Succeed. Very close. Targets the snake. Succeeds against. Take. Am I dumb? Mark a stress to make an attack against all targets within very close range. That makes sense. Targets the snake succeeds against. Targets that the snake succeeds against take. Okay. I'm not dumb. I'm just slow. Spin to fear. So why don't we just say this? Okay. Mark a stress, like whatever that is, like spin an action. Make an attack against all targets within very close range for 1d6 plus 1 physical damage. Because presumably, if the snake doesn't succeed against a target, whatever that means, like they don't take damage. If the snake fails, it doesn't deal damage. Could we make that a little bit? All right. Enough picking on Daggerheart. We're looking for things that we like. We're looking for things that we like. Okay, so Mike Gorman says, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on the Colossus stat blocks and builder from the Drylands campaign frame. All right, so Colossus stat blocks. How would I find the Colossus stat block? Colossus. Mike, if you want to point me in the right direction. I don't see a Colossus. Do I have to go to the campaign frames? Drylands. Let's look at the Drylands. Campaign frames. Colossus of the Drylands. Oh, that is a thing. Sorry. 308. Some really cool art. I will give them that much. And I even like this. We'll zoom back out. I even like this this sort of sketchy graphite kind of art. So we're going to page 308, guys. If you'd like to follow along at home. Okay. On the Colossus stat block and builder. Colossus stat block and builder. Where is a Colossus stat block and builder? Okay. Is it this? We're on page 310, I think. So are these the Colossi? Example Colossi. Okay. I think that's what we're looking for. DC 11 Dex save or take 1d6 piercing damage. Yeah. We're looking at just real briefly at the Daggerheart book. Someone was mentioning these. Tier 2 Colossus, a massive steel rhinoceros formed from a steam train, a cleaver emerging from its head instead of a horn. That's cool. So I do like this. I do like that. That's cool. Motives and tactics: clear forests, cleave, hew, and stomp. Size 130 foot tall. Okay, big dude. Is this what you wanted me to look at, Mike? This just looks like a regular monster thing. I found it. Okay. Scalding Fountain's team erupt from its thing. Spotlighting segment to make an attack. Okay. Dactate. All PCs on it or within close must succeed. Okay, so you can ride on this thing. Oh, wow. 2d20 damage. That seems like a lot in this game. I see it. Okay, so this is... So it's not just this. This is just the cleaver part of the Colossus. Is it? No. All right. I think I'm starting to get it. So this is the head. Okay. So you can spotlight any segment to make an attack. Okay, so I think I'm getting it. It has multiple segments, so each thing has its own stat block. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was thinking of something similar for like very, very large dragon-y things or constructs or other like titans. And I'm actually working on a titan dungeon where like you have to climb up inside the titan and fight it. Poi the sky. So yeah, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool. Is this the clearest way to do this? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is the clearest way to do this, but like it's a cool idea. Poi neck, poi head, body, wings, two talons. I feel like this would be very difficult to run. This would be very, very difficult to run. Fatal passives. When the segment is destroyed, poise defeated. Okay, that's interesting. Protective. Protected passive. Poison neck is protected by your swirling magic. The neck only marks HP from the Cascade feature. Okay, Cascade. Head. When the segment is destroyed, the neck must mark 3 HP. Okay. Okay, so the neck, like, the neck is where... So it's, so, like, I'm looking, like, I don't know. This is interesting. I really feel like this would be incredibly difficult to run properly. This feels very much like, you know, the 5e legendary monsters, where I think that's all we're gonna get out of Daggerheart for now. 5e legendary monsters where they have like layer actions and legendary actions, and on their turn they get all these, they do all these different things. Like I don't think I've ever ran a 5e monster properly, a legendary monster, because like there's always something I forget. I've heard really good things about Skerples thing, so let's go to that. I think we'll get some good stuff. I think we'll get some good stuff out of this. Skerples, the Monster Overhaul. It's a well-made book, and again, I really like having stuff in the in sheets. I don't love having charts for everything. I know that's a very OSR type of thing to do, but like I'd rather have something that I've made, rather than a bunch of random things. Unless the charts, like if the charts themselves are curated really well, I think that'd be cool. So let's go to. I don't want to go to like something incredibly complicated or too simple. Well, let's look at orcs. Number appearing 1 guard warbands of 10 times 1d10. Okay, I got a 1d10 here. So 10. So there's a warband of 100. Or hordes. I don't know what that's supposed to do. Appearance, strong humanoid with some bestial or shocking features. Ooh, okay. I do like this. I do like this. Voice, blunt, accented, rarely verbose. I do like that. So for monsters that talk, voice. So rather than that, I would say like deep, strong, brief. I would say I would do something like that. Or for like kobolds, it'd be scratchy, like there's scratchy complainers, something like that. I don't know. So that like I know how to run this. Otherwise, like, you know, everybody sort of starts sounding like goblins. I really do like that. Having a voice is a cool thing. I've included that in some monsters, but that wouldn't be a bad thing to include on all like humanoid or sentient monsters. Wants wealth, status, power, and security. Victory if in battle. Prosperity if not. I feel like everything wants that. So this is maybe let's zoom back in. This is maybe too generic to be super useful. Morality, pragmatic, but when you are prepared for violence, problems seem to find violent solutions. Intelligence, as smart as most people. Armor, as leather. Move, normal, sometimes mounted. Morale 9, damage. Cool. Like most people, orcs will fight when necessary or useful, retreat to avoid mass casualties, and occasionally change sides if prospects are appealing. For a variety of reasons, ranging from purely aesthetic to ruthlessly economic, orcs are typically in conflict with someone. Their reputation is not commendable. Okay, cool. We could probably, I feel like we're saying the same kinds of things a few different times. So maybe we can shrink that down a little bit, but I like what's going on here. It's too large to be useful to me. Oh, it's interesting. It is a big book. It is a big book. I hope the future monster books have alternate action for each monster. For example, I thought it strange that the draw priestess. Yes. Yes. All of the Patreon stuff is very much alpha or beta. So Check out the start of a chapter for hooks/rumors work in the book. Okay. Goblin War Engine. I like that. Goblins. I love the goblin art. That's perfect. Generic Wizard Tower Dungeon. Okay, so these guys are organized by like what was I looking for? Describe the monster with all 5 senses. I don't know if we need to describe all of it, but like maybe give me like what it looks like and what it sounds like, or what it looks like, what it smells like, if that's important. Let's keep looking. Treasure. Orcs carry gold and looted obscure coins, status jewelry, or small gems. That's fine. Reasons these orcs must die. Oh, that's cool. 3. They demanded an outrageous tribute. Okay. Clan names, features, unusual abilities, skin tones. We've got the Urknosbreg clan. And they have cracked yellow tusks. And they're immune to weather. And they have mottled granite skin. Like, some of that's cool. So, like, the clan name is cool. I probably don't need 10. Maybe 2 or 3 would be enough. Features, like, I'd pick my favorite 2 or 3. And then, like, maybe pick my favorite 2 or 3 of, like, each of these. And then that would just be enough. What are these orcs doing? That's good. That's fine. I feel like this kind of thing is more useful, like, to have in an adventure. Like, you go in this room, what are they doing in that room? Right? Archetypical other, they your sense. Okay, so here's a bunch of lore or whatever about them. So is this... What game is this intended to be used with? Is this just like a general, can sort of be used wherever kind of thing? Does anybody know? I'm not sure. Let's look at Gabos. Here we go. Okay, they appear in coteries. There are always 1d6 more goblins just out of sight. That's funny. Who may rush to help or may flee in heedless terror. Hit die 0, 2 hit points. Small, thin, toothy, furtive humanoid, enormous variety of features. Mockery, okay, yeah, voice. Mockery, giggling, obscene noises. Yeah, that's perfect. All right. It's neutral OSR, okay. Voice, mockery, giggling, obscene noises. They rarely use words more than 2 syllables. I don't know. They want to be free. I don't think they want to be free. They definitely would have a good time. No impulse control. There you go. They're toddlers. Morality, wild swings between servility and murderous rage. Yeah. I don't know if I would include that under morality, but maybe. Intelligence, dim, but... Skerples. This page is just about perfect. That's hilarious. If 10 or more goblins are present, 1 will have a goblin elite weapon. If 50 or more are present, oh wow. 1 goblin super weapon. They try to overwhelm their enemies, retreating and trying again. If the first assault fails, they will never try the same tactic twice. They can be temporarily cowed by force, bribery, or fear, but will eventually turn on allies or each other. This seems to be like the most important section of that. If they just want to have a good time and have no impulse control, then like I don't see them like never trying the same tactic twice. Like, let's try it again, guys. You know, yeah. These goblins are red, old bricks, fresh blood, or scabs. What? Red. Oh, the color of. Oh, okay, yellow. Goblins, special abilities, goblin mouth. So this is like cool stuff surrounding the stat blocks. It appears, but like the stat block is like just that. 1d6 club. Okay, so a goblin is, 1d6 damage and 2 hit points. So it's not an actually interesting goblin to run. This would make a very, very interesting goblin to like role play, right? But this is not at all an interesting goblin to fight against, as far as I can tell. Okay, so all right. So this isn't like this isn't. I think I'm starting to understand Skerples. So this is not pre-prepped. This is a book that helps you do the prep, right? So rather than prepping it for you, here's 6 different goblins. Just run them, right? This is you can make 1,000 different kinds of goblins. Some will be great, some will be not as great. But like some goblins might have a beehive slingshot or boiling oil. So you have to put in the work to like pre-do things. Like you couldn't just say like, oh, here's a bunch of goblins. All right, you guys hang tight while I roll 1d10 1,000 times to make it. Goblin traps. So this is more of a like when you're prepping the adventure. Am I understanding this correctly? When you're prepping to run beforehand, this is not a book you would use to run the goblins themselves. I think I get it. I love that this is Goblin War Engine. It feels very OSR-y to me. So I would prefer something like, hey, we want to play some D&D. All right, give me 5 minutes, right? So I'll open up, this thing, and I'll open up this thing. I'll read through. I'll scan through this adventure real quick. Okay, there's some monsters. Okay, they're there. I can figure those out as I go. All right, so I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to run the adventure. Enhancing OSR stuff, which could be a bit bland. Yeah, it's OSR for sure. Okay. So if that's what this is going for, then this is like a wild success. I'm just getting a ton of flavor, a ton of cool stuff, but mechanically, that isn't. That's not the kind of style that I'm going for. Okay. Okay, so I want to talk about one of my favorite 5e kind of books. It's a very shiny book. This is Teos Abadia, Scott Fitzgerald Gray, and Michael Shea, The Forge of Foes. This is one of my favorites when I was running 5e. So this chart was super handy, but the problem with 5e monster stat blocks is they can sort of just be like a bag of hit points. And I think Mike Shea, Sly First, he would say, oh yeah, just take like, take this one stat block, use it for everything. And just like, you just reflavor it. And like oozes, they have like this immunity and that immunity, and like they have these different traits. So like this was really cool to get like the different, like the balance more or less correct. But it's just they have this many hit points, and they attack for this much damage, and not really like the fun bits of it. How's the almond supply, Edward? I've got a few. They're down here. It's getting pretty low, actually. Getting pretty low. Okay. So what this does is it I don't know. It has like ambusher and solo and all this sort of stuff. It's really been a while since I've looked at this one, but if I remember, ooh, nimble. This creature ignores difficult terrain. So it has like different things you can add to it, but similar to Skerples Monster Overhaul, like you'd have to do this sort of beforehand. You'd really have to do it beforehand. Let's take a look at Flea Mortals. Flea Mortals was a really cool one that I liked. But what I found with Flea Mortals was every stat block was sort of like a legendary monster stat block in complexity. So this is a minion. All of this is a minion, right? So you'd never just fight one of these things. You'd fight a bunch of them. And then you could fight it with like 2 of these, 1 of these, 1 of these, and like 4 of these maybe, right? Or like whatever, something like that. So I need to be able to do like all of this, plus all of this, plus all of this, plus all of this. So like that is like 6 pages worth of content there. And I think I did run Baron Uthrak, their one-shot adventure that they have with the humans. So it was fun, but very difficult to run, and I'm pretty sure I didn't do all of it correctly, just because there's so much. Throw. The brawler throws 1 medium or smaller creature they are grappling or object they are holding up to 30 feet horizontally. If the thrown target is a creature, they fall prone after this throw. If the thrown creature... So, it's... my goal isn't to criticize these different things. Like the goal is to get inspiration and the good stuff out of all of these different things. So the legendary monsters in here were pretty solid. Let me see if I can pull up one of those, because they have like different stages and stuff. But again, they were a little bit complicated to run. For me at least. The Anke, yeah, they have these villainous actions that you can sort of do at any point, but like there's a lot there for like one monster. Yeah, it would definitely get very, very overwhelming for me. Just sort of too much going on. Let's take a look at the Forbidden Lands thing, because I think there's monsters in here, if not mistaken. Are there? Undead? Okay. The living dead are a natural phenomenon in the villages, since the deceased often tend to keep walking about in a state of confusion before finding their final rest. They are treated with respectful courtesy. The Rust Brothers' adventure of... So is this talking about specific? The rules for monsters in combat don't apply to undead. Instead, they act like normal fighters. Okay, so maybe undead's not a good one to read. Let's read about trolls. It's known that trolls are born underground, but often journey to the surface. They become blah 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 blah. They aren't unintelligent. You know, something. Okay, so this is too much lore for me to be interested in reading. Again, personally, not a criticism. I hope it's not coming across that way. Okay, so look at the stat block. Attributes: strength 12 to 16, agility 2. Skills: scout 4, armor rating 4, movement 1. Regenerate. A troll recovers 1 point of lost strength each round. So in this game, strength is it's like the hit points, I guess. Stench all enemies within arm's length suffer 1 point of damage to agility each round of combat because of the troll's horrible stench. Ooh, that's cool. A troll suffers 1 point of damage per round in direct sunlight. Okay, so when you're running these guys, feels like type of monster you'd need a VTT for. Yeah, awesome in a video game. Really cool in a video game. But if you're having to like use the analog meat computer, then it may not be as much fun. Okay, so monster attacks. So each monster has 6 attacks. Am I understanding that correctly? Each monster has 6 attacks, and you roll randomly to see what attack it does. That's interesting. Rending attack, terrible bite, violent bite, death rattle, troll. Okay, so they're all a little bit different, but some of them are the same. Tail attack, devouring attack, wild attack. The troll tears at an adventurer with its claws. Roll for... So if the name is good enough, you shouldn't need the description sentence. Okay, roll for the attack using 9 base dice and weapon damage 1. If the attack hits, the victim is also affected by disease with a virulence of 6. All right, so let's do... So how would I write this? Let's just see. How would I write this? So rending attack. Rending attack. Exclamation mark. There we go. So we don't need the first sentence of the troll tears an adventure with his claws for the roll for okay. 9d6, right? Because everything is a d6 in this game. 96 damage 1. I think that's important. On hit. Diseased. So I don't know what all this means. So this is what it would look like for if to nimblify this, right? So it'd be rending attack 9d6 damage 1 on hit, diseased virulence 6. Okay, so we're taking all of this and sort of just like cutting it, cutting basically the last two line, cutting all of this. So like what we have sort of. 96 is the roll to hit, 1 is the damage. Yeah, that makes sense. Because like every 6 is a hit, right? If I recall correctly. So this to me is easier to run at a glance. It has only the useful information. It's brief. This part isn't relevant. So Forbidden Lands, is this Forbidden Lands? Forbidden Lands does have a lot of variety of different things. If each monster has 6 different attacks, like that's quite cool. It should inspire the GM's creativity. Having things like it doesn't like the sunlight. It's really stinky. It can regenerate. Yeah, that kind of stuff definitely inspires GM creativity. I would say that definitely inspires GM creativity. Cool art. Yeah, it's not bad art. Cool combos. I don't see any cool combos here. I presume you would only be facing like a troll or 2 trolls and not like, these two like trolls combined with, this other thing that makes them extra cool. Variety, but without significant overhead. Yeah. For like it's like a random variety. So like cooler than just rolling a d6 to see what it is like do this attack and that sets up this other cool attack. And then like if you could do this, then like this next attack is really, really cool, right? Actually, there's a nimble troll in here, I believe. Let's compare. Let's compare the nimble troll to. So here's the nimble troll. Let's go back to the thing. It's the nimble troll. It's level 10, large. So I know how many of these. So level 10. I like if my heroes are level 10, and I have 5 heroes, I would have 5 trolls. That'd be a fair fight. They're large, so I know how much space they take up. Medium armor, 100 hit points. That their movement is 8. And we'll zoom in a little bit. Regenerate does not die at 0 hit points. Only fire, radiant, or a crit while at 0 HP can kill it. So compare that here. A troll recovers 1 point of lost strength each round. So that is more bookkeeping. So like you're subtracting and adding, subtracting and adding, subtracting and adding. Whereas this, like he's at 0. Like I'm only subtracting, and when he gets to 0, like yeah, he should be dead, but he's not dead. Like it's just like there's less bookkeeping. Same idea, less bookkeeping. Okay, its attacks. Choose twice. Claws. Reach to 1d6 plus or 1d4 plus 10 on crit. Knock prone. Bite. Only a prone creature. So there's this thing you do this, and it sets up an even cooler attack. 1d4 plus 20. Like that's nasty. And you choose twice. So if something's already prone, you just bite them twice. Right. So you definitely don't want to be knocked prone. So this guy would work really, really well with any other creature that knocks prone, right? Like so this guy would want to follow in the updated monster manual, updated monster book. We'll have a little bit more space to expound upon a lot of these things. So maybe trolls would really want to hang out with like kobolds that trap you and knock you prone, or like different creatures that like will run and charge and knock you prone, so they could eat you, right? So that kind of thing I think is a little bit more helpful. Let's see some more of this troll's abilities, because we've only looked at one, to be fair, and looks like the Forbidden Lands trolls has more going on, which is cool. So a nimble monster is simple intentionally because the complexity is born out of how this combos with another thing, right? So if this was a complex monster in and of itself, like that'd be fun. But every time I face trolls, it's always going to sort of be the same kind of thing. But if I face a troll with a hill giant, or a troll with some drakes, or a troll with some sturges, like all of that, they're going to combo in different ways, Terrible Bite. The troll opens its foul-spelling mouth and bites an adversary, an adventurer. So we don't need that first sentence. Roll for the attack with 8 base dice and weapon damage 2. All right, so let's translate this, and we'll call it foul. Foul bite. So this is what? 8d6. Damage 2, and I know you guys can't see this. I'll go ahead and 8d6 damage 2. 2 blunt force. The adventurers grappled and stuck in the jaws of the trolls. On hit, grappled. There we go. Bingo. Let's see what the next ability is. Troll throw. The troll lifts an adventurer high into the air. Let's zoom you guys in a little bit. Yeah, there we go. There we go. The troll lifts an adventurer high into the air and throws her, only girls, as if she were a rag doll. Roll for an attack using 12 base dice and weapon damage 1. If the hit, the adventurer lands prone at short distance from the troll. All right, let's see. Throw. And I would call it Chuck. Chuck Adventurer. So this is 12d6. That is so many dice to need to find and then count up and then roll. 12d6. And I would probably just do this. I would probably just have a little thing, 12d6, and then just have it in parentheses. So we're saving all that much space. 12d6. So at doing that, means that it's less accessible to a newbie. But if you just have at the beginning of the book, when you see 12d6, that means roll 12d6. The number of parentheses means for every 6 that you roll, do that much damage. So you can explain it pretty easily. One of my qualms I have with Shadow Dark is I think Shadow Dark. Where's the monsters in Shadow Dark? Okay, so I think I just saw a troll. Ooh, there's a Tarrasque. That's cool. The Tarrasque. All right, so that's cool. Troll. Green lanky giants with warty skin and territorial rage. Lair in deep forests and swamps. AC 12, HP 24. Attack 2 claw plus 4, 1d6. So it'd be 1d6 plus 4 twice. And bite. Okay, move near. S3, D2, C2. So regains 2d6 HP on its turn unless its wounds are cauterized with fire or acid. Okay, so I don't know what some of these things mean. So whenever I would look at whenever I look at like Shadow Dark stat blocks, I'd say, okay, let me see what they mean. I would go to like the beginning of the monster. And like, I don't think it would explain what all the different things mean. It just jumps right into designing monsters, monster generator, make it weird. Monster attributes. So I still don't know how to run Shadow Dark monsters after having read this a few times. Calculate the monster hit points by rolling a number of d8s per monster level. Oh, okay. Let's go back to the troll. So attack HP 24. Oh, it's level 5. Okay, so you can either roll 5d8 or you have 24 hit points. Am I understanding that correctly, you guys? Most monsters can make 1 or 2 attacks per turn, ATK, but some can make more. Attack bonuses and damage are listed for each movement. Monsters can typically move near, okay. Stat modifiers, strength, dex, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, okay. Alignment. All monsters have a typical alignment for the species. What's the alignment for this guy? Oh, ALC. It's probably chaotic. Okay, so what do I do? Combat rolls, damage. Yeah, I don't know. So if I'm running this on his turn, strange and I have abbreviation as part of the header. So on its turn, I would roll 2d6, right? No. So you have to roll d20, I think. I think that this still has d20 rolls. So I'd roll 3d20, and then I would add +4 to that, to each of those, right? So 3d20 +4 to each of those, and then on hit, I would find the d6 and the d10. I think that's how that's intended. And like just a little bit more explanation. So like I love how abbreviated these are. Just enough information here. Like I wish the hit points were like up here, like away from like the jumble of numbers and letters. So AC hit points or something like that. That would just or like having a level, like having important things somewhere else would be a little bit more helpful. There's D20 to hit. Yeah, okay. So rather than a jumble of letters and numbers, let's separate it out so at a glance I can tell, okay, Troll's level 5, Treant is level 8, you know. Like I can find it, but it's not visually clear. And then regenerate. Is it possible to have... Is it possible to do this in fewer steps? So it regains 2d6 HP on its turn unless its wounds are cards. So every time it takes a turn, so every round, I'm finding 2d6, I'm rolling them, I'm adding them, and then I am subtracting that from the damage they've taken, right? Or I'm adding that back to their hit points. This is from the Nimble Creators Kit. Can I do this in fewer steps? Like, can it just happen? Instead of 2d6, you know, could it just be 6? So I don't have to roll. I don't have to find the dice, roll them, add them up, and then, you know, do another thing. It's just always 6. There's a little bit less variation, but on average, it's going to do the same thing. Or, you know, can you do that without making me have to remember like a bunch of other things? Because if there's more than just one troll, and I think I saw that she recommends to have like at least one monster per hero, like a 1-to-1 thing. I think that's what she said. It's like, yeah, come on, Evan. How hard is it to, you know, roll 2d6 and it heals that much? It's not hard, but if you're doing that for every troll for every round, and then you happen to track which troll has been dealt acid or fire damage, and is it just for that round, or is it like if it takes fire acid damage anytime during this encounter, then like this turns off, right? So yeah, 1-to-1 monster table to turn. Yeah. So there's a lot of really good stuff about these stat blocks here. Very brief, very concise, but maybe a bit too brief for my taste. Again, you know, other people love that way more than what I'm doing. So how can I say anything? Troll throw. The troll lifts. Okay, we did that one. Sweeping strike. So far we've taken these three things and we've sort of boiled it down to this. Oh, and we forgot to land prone. Land prone. The next one is sweeping strike. Uses long and knobby arms. The troll makes a sweeping attack, hitting all adventurers within arm's length. Roll for the attacks using 8 base dice and weapon damage 1. Okay. Sweeping strike. 8d6. And this is going to be 1. And like if we were doing this, copy, like we might even do like 8 and 1. Because like everything is a d6, I think. Everything is d6. So you roll an 8 of them. All others within reach. 8. Anyone? Damage. If you need to say damage, you can. Yeah, that's it. Good beating. That's a cool name. Good beating. The troll grabs the nearest adventurer and throws them into another adventure. That's fun. The thrown victim is subject to an attack using 10 base dice and weapon damage. If it hits another adventurer within near, it's if I attack force. Okay. So let's do that. Good beating. Throw enemy for what was it? 8, 10, 10 d6. Throw an enemy for that much. Throw an enemy at another one. Both land prone. And we'll say on hit. Both land prone. And take something like that. We could probably even cut that down by, even more if we really, really wanted to. Something like that. What do you guys think about that? Stink breath. The troll clears his throat with thunderous sound and then vomits a cloud of bile and stinking marsh gas in the face of the adventurers. Each adventurer within near suffers an attack using 7 base damage that causes damage to empathy. Okay, so I don't know what that means, but you sort of get the idea. So I do like that. It's somewhat random. Like I don't know what it's going to be, but I think more fun than that would be for me as a GM to be able to choose. Like I feel like why do you need a GM if the monster is on autopilot, right? Like the GM is the one, like, I'm a player too. If I'm the game master, I want to be able to play and make some choices rather than just the D6, right? So I think there's some definite positives and negatives there. All right, let's keep looking. I very much wanted to look some more at, actually, there was, what was the one over here? Get my Land of Eem brick out. Throw my back out again. Okay, Land of Eem, Bestiary, Volume 1. So there. I will say that there's a lot of cool stuff in here. I do love the colors and the treatments and all this sort of stuff. After each hero's action, choose a role. Yeah. If it was a choose, then it seems like some of those are just clearly way better than the others, right? I think you have to roll, don't you? Table of contents. Cool. How are the end papers used here? Critters, creatures. Okay, tables, lots of tables. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of like tables. Like sometimes they could be cool, but too much, I don't know. All right, let's look at the Beevil. Let's look at the Beevil. Level 1 to 8, classes C, Parley, because I still don't know what all these mean, but hailing from the realm of Shrim, beavils are hardy species of subterranean insectoids that have, okay, so like here's some information about them. Names, King Kez, Queen Alzbez, okay, so these are all like royalty, all right, so cool art. Abilities, Army of 1, may use 1 action to make 2 attacks with their weapons. Can attack twice. Royal subjects, once every combat, may call upon an insect swarm for aid. It requires an action to command each round. Roll 1d6 or choose the swarm. Termites. sorry, Mikeys. Of all the monster manuals, which book takes the lead of your favorite design by 4? I really like the Dolmenwood book. I don't know. I like different things about all of them. So I feel like I've been a little bit negative, maybe too negative, more negative than I intended. But yeah, I like the Dolmenwood one so far. I don't know. So for this, rather than it requires an action, so roll 1d6 or choose the swarm. So me wanting to optimize, like I would want to like read all of these and then choose. That's gonna be a little bit fiddly. So if it's going to be roll, you can have 6. If it's gonna be choose, you should have like 2 or 3, right? Because I feel like this is gonna be too much on 9 or on a 9+ hit, devours a mundane weapon or item. Automatically inflicts 1d4 dread to all enemies. On a 6+ hit, the target is stunned, millipedes. So I would have like 3 and then like, pick termites if X, Y, and Z. Pick fire ants if X, Y, and Z. Pick bees if, this and this. So I would like to see that much more than like more options. Like tell me when to make it rather than making me read all them. And then like have to figure out that kind of stuff. One of the big things I look for in a good monster book is that it makes running the monster easier. Yes. Put abilities in priority order or roll. Yeah, yes. Yes. If you could roll, like, hey, fine. Great. I can roll. I don't have to read everything. Just roll. All right. Then this, 4 that. The millipedes happen. Right. But if you're going to make me choose, like, make the choice easy at least. Okay, social. All beavils regard themselves as royalty, and use of the word such as highness, eminence, master, mistress, and other terms associated with noble courts are bound to gain their favor and respect. Ooh, I like that. They enjoy and often expect tribute, and are pleased by obsequious gestures and fools. However, if one were to scoff at their regal claim or address them as any old peasant, a beevil might retaliate with hostility. Love that. This is super cool. Might make it a little bit more brief, but that is super cool. Combat. In a beevil's mind, they are a kingdom unto themselves and fight for it fiercely. They target the most noble-looking targets. Yep, and wield as many as 4 weapons at once. Beevils also unleash their insectoid subjects. That could be more useful. This is cool. Target the most noble-looking targets. I wouldn't say target choice. They target the most noble-looking creatures. Or heroes or whatever. And I don't know that it matters if they're wielding a bunch of weapons. Because it already says you can attack twice. Beevils accept defeat nobly in most cases, honored to meet a worthy opponent. That's cool. And I would even put like, so if this is my book, so I don't care if I run it. I'd even put that in quotes. Honored to meet a worthy opponent. So that like I as GM know, like, oh, I can just say that. Like I don't even have to think like, what would I say if I was if I was going to like tell them I was honored to meet them, like because they beat me. Like, yeah, that's great. Just say that. If particularly impressed by someone truly worthy and regal, they may even go so far as to declare an alliance or fealty to the victor. Ooh, that's cool. What does that mean? Conversely, Beevil that has been bested through wily or nefarious means will declare them mortal enemies. Beevils take prisoners. So Vic, so if they win, I do like this. So what happens if they lose? It doesn't mean they're dead, right? No, they're not dead. What happens if they win? That doesn't mean the heroes are dead, right? Beevils take prisoners usually to a dungeon built for this exact purpose, where they must await a trial before the Beevil in a court of insects. This is really cool. This is really cool. So for a monster manual like this, where all of the monsters are like wacky, and I guess not all of them are wacky. The monsters are like unusual. So like it's not like a goblin or an orc or something like it's a beevil and a blimmy. Like I would have no idea what this is. So the art for each one is necessary, and then a description is pretty necessary too. Combat. Let's go to social. Blimmies are not very intelligent but can still be bartered with. Unfortunately, what blimmies want often is outlandish, like all the treasure in the world, or a pet scrockwing, or their desires are depraved, kidnapping folk, murdering livestock, and watching their prey cry and wail in the torment. Because of their pea-sized brains, blimmies can be easily deceived, but woe to the adventurer who crosses a blimmy who eventually discovers they've been duped. Okay, so that's cool. They don't take defeat well, blubbering and stuttering, almost unintelligible. So I guess in this game, like you don't kill the monsters. Like you're defeating. They're only defeating them. Blimmies steal valuables and are capture an individual they find beautiful or affable. I do like that even when the heroes might lose, like it's not game over. It's like it's a game twist, right? It's like now I have to figure out how to get all my stuff back, right? And if I lose, like I get a reward. If I win, I get a reward. If I lose, I get a quest, right? So that's kind of cool. Blinking Cave Inchers. Abilities. Access cord on 9+, hit the target. On a 9+ hit, the target must make a vitality check. They're blinded, and they suffer dread. Blinded for the session, blinded for the conflict. Suffers 1d6 dread. Target, okay. So I think dread is like the additional damage. Vulnerabilities. The red sap from Eden's blood neutralizes the access cord. That's cool. Having target choice defined is nice. Yes. Yeah, so I feel like so this guy would benefit very much from having like a voice, motives and motives and voice type of line, and like you do have space for it too. Like you could put how does this guy talk? Methinks betwixt thine honor of whatever, he talks like Shakespeare, or whatever. Yeah, that could definitely benefit from it. I wonder if this icon means anything. Does that icon? Yeah, okay, so that icon, I guess these icons mean different things. Let's see if we can uncover what the meaning is. Okay, creatures, critters, and creepers. That's cute. It's cute alliteration, but it's too close for me to easily be able to tell the difference between them, I think. Was this a creature or a critter? Was this a creeper or a creature? It's a little bit too close. So the alliteration is fun, but it's fun at the expense of usability, I think. Just like when games will have like close and near and like those kinds of things that are like similar enough. Like critters are also creatures. I think creepers is probably the clearest one, but I would say like insectoids, humanoids, and beasts. Like that is very clear, right? So we don't want to sacrifice clarity for cute, for like cuteness or for the pun. Caterpillar. So yeah, there's a lot of puns and stuff in here, which I can appreciate. Cairn stingers. Tiny, flying. These flying insects possess a poison to sting and tend to dwell near ruins, Cairn stinger, okay, makes sense. And setting rocks where they build mossy nests in the shade. Their wings make a distinct hissing sound like a snake as they swarm in great oscillating clouds. That's cool. So it gives me a little bit of information about like how like the environment, like how I would foreshadow them. On a 9 plus, the target is poisoned. Vulnerabilities. Cairn stingers can be repelled by anything with strong odor like perfume pungent farts. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I like this. I like a lot of this. Let's look at a big thing. A giant. How cool. Primordial ogres. Unlike ogres, they're typically indifferent towards smaller folk. Okay, they live solitary lives. Abilities: roll 2d6 or choose to. So I don't like that because that means I have to do a lot of reading and thinking and figuring out. Two-headed, massive noggin. Yeah. If a giant, oh, this is cool. If a giant misses a target twice in a row, they become enraged, gaining a +2 bonus to dread, but a +2 penalty to defense for the rest of combat. What does defense do? Defense is +1. That's probably like reduces the damage they take, if I were to guess. Okay. That's enough of Land of Eem. Let's take a look at. Does the Lancer have? I just bought this one not too long ago. Does Lancer have like monsters in it, things to fight? I know you can fight in Lancer, right? You can fight in Lancer. Anybody a Lancer pro? So like right away I can tell this is not an OSR type of thing because the in sheets have nothing. Miguel Lopez and Tom Bloom. Non-player characters, 284. 284. Cool art, man. Wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, man, this is overwhelming. It's like, so I'm feeling overwhelmed by looking at this. The first person to embody the Ace archetype was Serafina Mardell. I like that name. An auxiliary pilot, active during the liberation of Verdana, the font. Knights of the Chassis and Sky, aces like Serafina throw their mechs in a battle with high-speed strafing runs. Like I might like bold this: high-speed strafing runs, agile maneuvers, reckless feats of daring. So like that part's important. So maybe like move that first, and if you want to have the lore, like have the lore second. So like a low-level ace, a mid-level, and a high-level ace. Is that what I'm looking at? Lancers less specific monsters, more archetypes. Yeah. Hey Ross, new to running Nimble. Got my box set on the way. Cool. It looks like it's gonna be perfect for my DM style. Fantastic. I hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoy. There's more coming. There's more coming, man. Tactics. Okay, so HP, evasion. So here's the stats. Cool. Aces are very fast and reactive strikers that can use barrel roll. So I don't think we need to say they're very fast here and they're very fast here. So I would pick one or the other. To mitigate dangerous or high damage attacks, barrel roll is most effective against heavy weapons. They're seeking weapons, ignore cover, and don't require line of sight, allowing them to deal consistent damage. Relatively low HP makes aces vulnerable to sustained damage, and they are relatively weak against deck attacks. Cool. All right, so I want to show you guys something that I've been working on. Let's go here. So I like that kind of thing. So this is the revised cheat intro thing. So like what can you do as a cheat? So here's some flavor. But you break the rules, you can change the dice to whatever you want, backstab enemies, devastating crits, fight dirty. And then here, what is this class? A high burst damage class that can get in and get out. Like, do I want to do that? Yes or no? Like I can tell pretty quickly. You know, it's fairly simple class, right? So I like that kind of thing where you can very easily get a high level overview of what this is. So I really like that kind of thing, and I'm doing that to the next update. Ace can fly whenever they do something. Missile launcher, seeking smart. I don't know what all this means, but so here's the base system. Barrel roll trigger. So barrel roll. So you can do this as a reaction. Recharge. Something happens. Trigger. A melee or ranged attack hits the. So when you're hit, you can perform barrel roll, fly 6 spaces in any direction, and just make a miss. This movement ignores engagement and does not provoke reactions. Cool. Barrel roll. Bombing bay. Strafe. So I think this is like a passive thing. Once per round, as a quick action, the ace can fly spaces equal to speed in any direction, automatically dealing 3, 4, 6 to one character. I don't know what that means. That's fine. I mean, I shouldn't expect to understand like what everything means in a book that is this thick. You know, the first time we're reading through, but like it's clear enough. Like if I understood the rules, then like okay, you know that's easy enough. Okay, there's Aegis. Okay, so Ace is a striker. Aegis is support. Controller, archer. So this is cool. So this is more mech combat, like mech on mech combat. Pyro, defender. If each of I don't know how many of these are, but if each of these had art like this one, like then I would be able to understand a little bit better, like what was going on. Okay, let's go back to fantasy stuff. I've got Dragonbane here. I've heard good things about Dragonbane. You guys want to look at Dragonbane? And you can tell, what I do to my my things when I get them in. I open up the Amazon package or whatever, and then okay, there's treasure and adventure cards. Cool dice. Ooh. So I do like having. So this is just like a single, like a flyer. Welcome to Dragonbane. If this is your first tabletop role-playing game, congratulations. Role-playing is used. Okay, blah blah blah. This game gives you a set of rules to let you create your own worlds. Okay, something. Decide who will be. So getting started. Decide who will be the game master. If you have just opened this box and are the first one reading it, that's probably you. All right, cool. Let each player create a role-playing character. Let each player create a player character. Well, that's hard to read. Using the rules in chapter 2 as a game master, familiarize yourself. So I do like having this. Maybe we should do something like that. Okay, is there a monster manual on this? Ooh, this is cool. This is a nice map. It's sort of like, wow, what is this? Oh, these are all the backers. Man. Look at all those backers. I didn't know this was a crowdfunded thing. Alone in Deep Fall Breach. Ugh. Games catalog. Okay. Are there monsters in here? Missions. Battle map. Adventures. Rules. If anybody knows Dragonbane, let's zoom out a little bit. If anybody knows Dragonbane, you want to help me out where the monsters are. Is this a monster? This is a hero. That's a hero. Okay, that's cool. So you have some pre-made hero sheets, character sheets. Okay, so there are monsters in here because there's these standees. Okay, so there definitely are monsters in here. Just have to keep looking. The full bestiary is a separate book. Okay. Are there at least monsters in here? Oh, here we go. Goblin. Goblins are children of the night and shadow. They are relatively small and skinny, but have disproportionately long arms and legs. Big bulbous heads. They primarily make their living hunting, growing mushrooms, and trading with other creatures, being the orcs and humans, but they are also warlike, aggressive clans. So they're traders, they're warlike, thieves guilds, they're cunning, traps, ambushes. There's a lot going on. Okay, movement 10, damage bonus. Is that nothing? HP 9. So I don't know if that's a minus sign, like you get a negative damage bonus, or if that's just like an NA, like a nothing. HP, so clarity there. Typical leather armor, typical armor leather. Skills, awareness, evade, sneaking, typical weapons. Excuse me, short bow, skill level 12, damage D10. Okay, oh, okay, so here's a scout and a goblin warrior. Okay, so you got 2 stats. So the stat blocks for this game are relatively small. Studded leather. Okay, so provides 2 damage reduction. Long spear, 2d8 non-monster. Non-monster. Goblins do not count as monsters of combat. What? Okay, let's go to the griffin. Is the griffin a monster? Okay, so goblins are not monsters, I guess. They're NPCs. That's weird. An aggressive predator specializing in hunting down prey in the forest of the world. Cool. Ferocity 2, size large, movement 30. Powerful wings of the griffin allow it to move freely through the air. Okay. Ah. Is this like Forbidden Lands? Snapping beak. This gives you a bit of terms. Monster is akin to nimble legendary. Huh. D6. So this is a monster, but like monster is NPC, and so NPC is monster, and monster is legendary. Snappy beak. The beast tears at a player character with its razor sharp beak for 2d8 piercing damage. Okay. So yeah, so this is 3 lines. It could have been like less than 1 line. 2d8 piercing damage. You have, like, if you wanted to say like razor sharp, it could be like razor beak, right? So all of this, so this whole chart could probably be like this big, maybe this big, right? And it would be less imposing, easier to run, quicker to read. Rearing strike. The griffin rears up before a player character, tries to tear them apart with D6 rapid strikes. Each attack. Oh, okay, so I don't even know how many times it's going to hit. Might hit once, might hit 6 times. Each attack inflicts D8 slashing damage. The attack can be dodged or parried, but only 1 at a time. That is actually a cool idea. That is a cool idea. I've never thought about that. So rather than having like this guy, you know, attack 1d4 times. That's interesting. That does make for a longer turn, but it's interesting. So interesting for a video game. I don't think that would be a good thing to have for an RPG where everybody else is waiting on you. It's an interesting idea, but probably would take too long. I would hate to have to run that. Interesting idea. So because Grin sweeps its clawed. So the principle that I have in mind is cooler attacks rather than more attacks, right? Because it's the same thing, but it takes much longer to do. Question: I backed the original Kickstarter. What was different with the new one? If you're talking about the one that just ended yesterday, it's the same thing. There was leftover stock, and BackerKit asked me if I wanted to create a thing just to help sell through some of the existing stock, and I said, yeah, okay. So it's the same thing. The original BackerKit crowdfunder was to raise money to get those printed, and then the one that was going on for just a week or two was part of BackerKit's holiday sale thing, where creators who have existing stock can sell through some of their existing stock. So that's all it was. So one was raising money beforehand, and the other was just selling it afterward. Grabs a player with its beak. Oh, I didn't read this one. Sweeps its clawed forelegs in a wide arc, attacking all characters within 2 meters. Each suffers D8/damage as a knock prone. Cool. Beast grabs a player with a flick of its beast, tosses them with. Grabs a player character with its beak and tosses them with a flick of the head. The attack inflicts 2d6 piercing damage. The victim is thrown an equal number of meters and lands prone. Okay, that's cool. I've used that kind of thing, so it, knock back, whatever you roll for your primary die. Whirlwind, the griffin uses powerful wings to create a whirlwind that blows away. So this is cool having all these different things, but like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about like having the attacks be random. Is there instructions on? I guess it doesn't really matter. So what would I like to see in here? So first of all, is there anything here that I would like to use? I don't think so. I don't think I like the the D6 decks because it takes up more space. It doesn't make it necessarily more interesting. It just makes it more. There's just more of it. Dragons, yeah, it's just sort of like a random thing. Like I feel like a dragon wouldn't just do a random thing; it would do like whatever is most beneficial to it. Okay, I mean, it looks cool. It looks really cool. I know we're not looking at cards, but someone did mention the like the loot cards, the treasure cards. So why don't we go and open these up real quick? One, two. Okay, so I think these are initiative cards. Boiling Cauldron. Inn? Okay, treasure. Improvised weapons. Forest. Oh, that's interesting. Improvised weapons. Cave. Oh. That's fun. Let's look at treasure. Copper coins. D6. 2d6. 4d6. 2d6 times 10. Oh, lots of them. Copper coins, 4d6 times 10. D6, 36. D6 gold coins. Okay, that's cool. So like you say, all right, pick a treasure. And oh, look, you got 2d6 copper coins. That's neat. Oh, there's more. Yeah, it didn't feel right to have just, 1d6 gold coins. I'd almost rather roll like a bunch of copper coins. Okay, so there wasn't quite as much inspiration in existing monster books as I hoped, but there are some cool things. Gold coins, chalice. Oh, okay. There's more treasure. Treasure. Probably don't need this many treasure things. Wow, that's a lot of treasure. Okay, and then there's adventure stuff. I don't know what the adventure stuff is. We'll take a look at that in a second. Okay, so all it is, so the only... Okay, so there are some actual items, not just gold. Like there's like how many things do you need that like just give you like some amount of money? I don't think you need that many. Roll d6. Oh, so like this is just like another like just more money. I thought it was okay. Clothing, d3. Boots for cloak boots. Melee weapon. Mastercrafted melee weapon. All right. Armor, shield. I mean, that's kind of cool. Rusty nail. Oh, like you snagged yourself on a nail? So I would like to see more of like these kinds of things. I would like to see more of these kinds of things rather than like all of the different like 100 different ways to d6 silver and things. Okay, so let's see if there are any other Let's see if there's any other monster books and things that we could be inspired by before we wrap it up. Dragonbane looks cool. Yeah, let's take a second look at Dolmenwood, because that was the one that I really wanted to look at the most. Now that we've had a survey of all of these things, let's take a look at Dolmenwood and just sort of do a flip through. So I really like this. My favorite thing about this is this back thing. So I don't think we would need all of these different things. Like, man, look at that art. That is so cool. I do like how this has a spread of like, all right, let me walk you through, but instead of assuming you know what to do with all these stat blocks, I'm going to walk you through how to use all these stat blocks. So, there's a header, there's a description, game stats, here's all the definitions. I love that. I love that. And there's even like a picture of like the thing that you know what it is. And not assuming that someone is going to understand or know everything right off the bat. So what's in this book? Bestiary, there's all these things. Required books. This book requires other books. The Dolmenwood Player's book, the campaign book, other books. I do like that. I like that it's sort of spelling it out from the perspective of a new player, because I would be new to this game. I don't think alignment is important. I don't think intelligence is super important. I think you could largely assume that. Like if it's important to know the intelligence of a thing, like if it's a bug, it's not that smart. If it has a face, okay, like it's a little bit smarter. Encounters, creature may be encountered either in their lair, so like where would you see them? Behavior, speech, languages, possessions, horde. All right, so let's take a look at some of these things. Part 2, bestiary. So this is pretty cool. So I would call this like quest hooks, or similar to a quest hook. Encounters, gazing at her reflection in a pool, sobbing, then screaming in rage at the sky for the banshee. Like, oh man. Closing in on a lone friar, level 3, page 106, quaking behind a tree, impotently holding forth his holy symbol. Drifting out of a chilly mist hanging over a reed-choked pond. A bunch of anglers huddled on the shore are oblivious to the impending danger. So, does it matter if it's one angler or two anglers or three? Probably not. Probably not. Hovering above a peat bog. So, just like you wouldn't ask for someone to roll a skill check when, like, it doesn't really matter the result of the skill check. Don't ask me to roll for the number of anglers if it doesn't really matter. Or if like 1d6 rats. If one rat would be unfun and 6 rats would be unfun, don't have me roll for it. Or like have a chart that it could be like if you roll a 1, 2, or 3, it's 2 rats. If you roll a 4 or 5, it's 3 rats. If you roll a 6, it's 4 rats. Like all of the options need to be interesting, I guess. They could be interesting for different reasons, but traits: seductive, youthful beauty, throat slit. Ooh, that's creepy. Icy blue blood drips from the wounds. Sings forgotten ballads in an otherworldly soprano. So I don't know that I need 6 of these different things. Like 2 or 3, I think would be plenty for this. Let's look at a barrow bogey. Barrow bogey, waif-like fairies, 3 feet tall, with saggy, wrinkled skin, carry pots or jugs on their shoulders in place of heads. I feel like this carry pots or jugs on their shoulders in place of heads is the most important part. Let's don't bury the lead. Put this part first. These fairies, if that's important to say, or just start with carry pots. They carry pots or jugs. I don't think it matters if it's a pot or a jug. Carries jugs on their shoulders, or carries a pot on their shoulders in place of a head. These waif-like fairies with saggy, wrinkled skin live in barrow mounds. So there's something in writing for reporters. So you don't want to bury the lead. Don't bury the, and it's not LEAD, it's LEDE. Don't bury the lead means state the most important information at the beginning of a story rather than hiding it in the text. So a really good example of this, Geekman Cave, sorry for jumping in. Is this a review of what's out there to create a monster manual for Nimble? Yes, it is. That's exactly what we're doing. So we're talking about looking at a bunch of monster manuals, what I like, what I don't like, cool ideas, that kind of thing. What makes a good monster manual? There's this really funny story of someone burying the lead. It was like a TV broadcast. It was talking about the weather and all this sort of stuff, and it was going on and on and on. And then like toward the end, it was talking about like how much snow there was going to be in some place, and they buried the lead. The lead was there will be no school on Tuesday, right? And then you can talk about how much snow there's going to be, and what impact it's going to have on other things. But there's no school on Tuesday, right? So say the most important thing first, the most critical information, the most unique, the most interesting information first. Burrow bogey, pothead, jughead. Attacks 2 scratches +2 1d4 or 2 bramble darts +2. So it's the same attack, but this one just has range. So how we do that in Nimble? Stab 1d6 +2 or shoot range 8. Like that's just a little bit simpler. It's a little bit simpler than this. Encounters 2d6, 25% in lair. So if I was playing this, would 2 barrow bogeys be exciting to fight against? I know this is like an OSR thing, OSC thing, so like fighting is not really the point, or whatever. But would it be interesting to encounter 2 of them? Would it be interesting to encounter 12? If not, then why would we roll for it? I would rather see, like, if you want X kind of encounter, there's 4 barrow bogeys. If you want Y kind of encounter, there's 9, right? So just give me the 2. Like, I want a role-playing encounter. I want an encounter that's so hard that I don't want them to try and fight. There's 12. There's just 12. That would be much more interesting, I think, to me, rather than like oh, every time we roll for encounters, we only roll the lowest this time, or we only roll the highest. So like everything is just sort of like feels like random and jumbled together rather than like a cool crafted story. It's like when someone's making a movie, they're spending time to put all things together. They will script out all the different cool things to happen, right? Not that you could script out all the cool things for an RPG, because there's other players who have input, but the setup at least should be cool, like as cool, as crafted as it could be, intelligently. So I don't know. I just I don't have as much experience with this OSR type of thing where like you roll for everything. Design you have for number ones, both legendary and normal, and you're perfect. I also love systems that give it different counts. Yeah, cool. Behaviors: sharp-witted, wild, tricksome. That's cool. How would I play that? So if they're supposed to be sharp-witted, and it's not just in combat, like give me like 1 or 2 sharp, witty things to say. So if we go back to, if like part of their big character is this, go ahead and prep it for me. So give me the things to say, right? If these are like witty things, and I'm not feeling particularly witty because I worked all day and I got a babysitter, and like I'm thinking about the taxes, and don't have enough gas in my car. I'm thinking about all these different things. Like I've got life going on, right? I'm not, if I'm not sharp-witted, wild, and tricksome, like help me do that, okay? And like we have space, here, and if we just like you could cut like all 4 of these encounters, all 4 of these layers, like they're all not like, they're probably not all A pluses. Like one of these is probably pretty good, and the others are like so, and one is like less interesting. So if we cut one of those, made the art a little bit smaller, or like trim some of this, you could probably, whatever this says, we'll read it in a second, could probably be trimmed a bit. And then here's like 2 bullet points of like witty things to say, just so I can get the flavor. Like if you start me off, I'll probably be able to run with it, but I need help starting off. Possessions, none. Oh, like what does it have? It doesn't have anything. It should have something. Like this guy has an apple pie. Speech tinny voiced emanating from head pot. That's funny. That is funny. Cold iron. As fairies, barrow bogies suffer 1 extra point of damage when hit with cold iron weapons. Dark sight can see normally without light. Cursed dwelling once a day. A barrow bogie can curse a dwelling, causing all within to be stricken with shaking boils and wards, losing 1 constitution, 1 charisma, and 1 dexterity save or doom to resist. The curse may be cured by magic or by eating a porridge cooked in the pot stolen from the shoulders of the fairy who placed the curse. Okay. So like this is much more of a quest hook than like something that I would run, right? So if this is the stat block and like down here are the quest hooks, remove that from the stat block so that's not in my way when I'm trying to run this. If killed, a barrow bogey's pot shatters instantaneously to dust. Pots and pies. So like if I steal the pot, can he see through the pot? Can he talk to me through the pot? Will he follow me and curse me some more? Pots and pies. Barrow bogies cherish pies and earthenware vessels. They do not produce their own. They may be appeased by such gifts and occasionally creep into villages to steal them from mortals. Like that's super cute. That's a really cute quest hook, but it's a quest hook. It's not part of the stat block. So I would have the clarity. What I need to know when I'm running it. What I need to know when I'm not running it. Right. Relationship with undead. Barrow bogies cohabitate on occasion with undead. These two parties tend to simply ignore each other. Rather than ignore each other, is there something more interesting that could happen? Maybe. Arguing over who has the right to the largest slice of freshly baked blackberry pie, which lays on the ground between them. Attacking a washerwoman, everyday mortal, beside a small stream attempting to steal her cauldron. The one fights back with a broom. Grouping. Okay, so these guys have 13 hit points. I don't know if that's a lot or not. So I think the hit die, the number of hit dice is like roughly how strong it is. Level 3, yeah. All right. Yeah, let's take a look at the basilisk. Just read the Harry Potter thing, Chamber of Secrets. So I'm interested in this one. I feel the trap GMs fall into is worrying about the stat block and forget about make the monster feel unique, making each encounter feel safe. Yeah. And like some of the advice that I've seen for GMs is like, yeah, just like use whatever stat block and you just flavor the attacks. You know, you just describe the attacks differently. Yeah, that's helpful. But like if the attacks are actually different, that helps even more. That helps also. Like, yeah, you can always like describe it differently, but like the giant comes and clomps down onto you with his foot and he stomps you and you take 2 damage. Okay. And the goblin comes and he like, kicks you in the shin. You take 2 damage. Right, so the mechanics do have to support the fantasy, right? Okay, basilisk. 10 feet long, many-legged serpentine lizards, feared for the petrifying gaze, dwell in caverns, ravines, and tangled woods. Large responsory, level 6. Okay, 27 hit points. Saves. So like this is like an unbeautiful thing. Did this guy have saves? He does. So this kind of code is not what we're looking for. Attacks, bite. I assume that's a +5 to hit, and then if you do hit, deals d10 damage. +2 to hit, deal 4. Okay, so these guys are much weaker than this guy. Speed 20. Okay, so these are fast. These are really fast, and these are really slow. Morale 9, XP 520. Okay. Encounters 1d6, 40% in lair. So it'd be a 1 or a 2, right? No. How would you do 40%? So you would roll a 1d6. And on a... You can do 40% on 1d6. I don't understand what that means. I'm obviously misunderstanding this. Languid and curious. It's interesting. Speech gravelly hissing. That's cool. Possessions none. Or it should like, stone arms of dudes. Like people-shaped rocks. Horde, I think these are tables to roll on. Surprise. Anyone surprised by Basilisk automatically meets his gaze if within 30 feet. Anyone within 30 feet meets Basilisk's gaze must... So just combine these two. No, maybe not. Meeting Basilisk's gaze must save versus hold or be permanently turned to stone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that kind of stuff. Give me, like, you're surprised. Okay, well, I'm dead. In melee, unless averting their eyes or using a mirror, characters in melee... Where did he sit it? Unless averting their eyes or using a mirror, characters are affected by Basilisk's gaze each round. Averting eyes in melee... We've already said in melee. Averting eyes incurs... so unless averting their eyes, parentheses, -4 penalty to attack, and -2 AC. Fighting by looking in a mirror occurs in -1. Okay. Okay, so like special rules when you're fighting this guy. Reflection. Basilisk's reflection is harmless to others, but perilous to Basilisk itself. Basilisk sees its own reflection, must save or hold. So like this is like cool, but like how would I run this? Like, I hold up the mirror, the Basilisk looks at it, and he kills himself. Is that fun? Or if I'm the GM, like the player says, hold up the mirror and make the Basilisk look at himself. Does he... Do I make a save? Do I just save automatically, or I say, oh no, the Basilisk isn't looking at your mirror? Like, how would I run this in a fun way? And it not just be like, my monster dies right away, or these heroes die right away, and you drove across town and you got a babysitter and all this sort of stuff. Now we have to make new heroes. We have to like explain how these heroes meet the the existing heroes, or start all over from the beginning, and everybody's discouraged. And like, how would I run this? What would I do to make this fun? I don't know. I don't know what I would do to make this fun. See invisible, Basilisk sight. Okay, he can see invisible. Can eat rocks. So like, see invisible, like it already explains what this is, so we probably don't need that. If it's viewed in a mirror, it shatters on successful save. Okay, the mirror shatters. Rock eating, again, the rock eating, it says this. Coiled and camouflaged amidst foliage that hangs overhead, ready to slowly lower onto whatever unsuspecting prey passes by next. Fighting with some cockroaches over some petrified remains. So there are some cool things here, but it seems a little bit discongruous. Basilisks hunts are always at night. Did it say that? Or this is something you're making up? Layers? I don't know. Let's look at one more. Let's find a cool looking one. Not that. Let's find a really cool looking one, and then we'll maybe wrap it up there. So some cool ideas. So far, I like motives and tactics. So we've already got we already have that some places. I think having a voice, like for things that would talk, is really a really cool thing. And like, what are some things they would say? Would be nice to have. I think of it like a destiny roll. When you reach a number, you return to stone. So I would do something like, sorry, you hunt at night, so you don't turn to stone. Oh. So how would I do a basilisk type of thing? I would do like the first time you look at it, like you get this debuff. The second time you look at it, you get it even worse. If you look at it a third time, you're done, right? So like that seems fair. Like, yeah, I did the thing 3 times. So like, it's one thing, you're like walking down a mall, and you get arrested, and the cop says, "Oh yeah, sorry, you're wearing red shoes. If you wear red shoes on a Tuesday, like you just get thrown in jail for the rest of your life." Like, what? You're not even gonna warn me? Like, that's unfun. But if the cop says, silly example, obviously, "Oh hey, if I see you wearing red shoes again, I'm gonna give you a fine," or maybe he gives you a fine. "If I see you again, you're gonna get a bigger fine." Like, now it's up to me. Like, okay, do I want to, like, what do I want to do? I don't really think the cop's gonna see me again, Like, so yeah, I love my red shoes. They're my favorite shoes. I'll do it again. And then he's all right, big fine. Like, I deserve that. I was trying to get away with something. I deserved it. It sucks to be me, but like, I deserved it. And then, you know what? I'm pretty sure that cop isn't there again. Let's wear red shoes, and then bam, in jail for the rest of your life. Okay, well, hey, I deserved it. Like it's a steep penalty, but I had a choice to engage with it or not engage with it. That's fun. That's more fun rather than like, oh, sorry, your name starts with F. Frank, you die. Double goat, Druna, elf, Druna, Drunewife, elf courtier. Probably this could be a little bit more simplified, but maybe. Let's look at gargoyle. Maybe we'll put our bookmark there if we don't see anything else. If we don't see anything else, then we'll look at gargoyle. Gelatinous Hulk sounds cool. Goblin. I'm a sucker for goblins. Yep. Headless Rider. All right, let's look at gargoyles. Grotesque winged religious statues of roughly human stature, 4 to 6 feet tall. Animated to guard treasure or holy sites, older gargoyles become crotchety and idiosyncratic as if they tire of duty. That's fun. Like, that's a cool thing. This part is cool. Love that. Would I ever thought of that? Probably not. Can I use that? Absolutely, right? That is great. That is great. Way to go, Gavin. I think Gavin Norman made this. I don't know who made this. Level 4. Whatever, but you save. So like this, I don't like that. Attacks 2 claws +3 to hit, 1d3, and so 2 claws and bite. So this guy gets 3 attacks. So we're gonna be rolling 3d4 plus 2. We'll be rolling 3d20, and then we'll be adding 3 more dice. We're gonna be adding 3 to that each time. I'm just sort of calculating how long this guy's turn is going to take, and he can move and stuff, I assume. They're going to be rolling 2 more d3s, and then we're going to be rolling a d6 on top of that. So like 9 different things spread across 3 different, like, oh, I rolled a this, does that hit you? I roll a this, does that hit you? I roll a this, does that hit you? Or like, maybe you're asking out loud, maybe you're not. Encounters 1d6 always in lair. Okay. So does this mean that there's 1d6 of these? Cunning, single-minded? What does it mean for a gargoyle to be cunning or a gargoyle to be single-minded? Like, single-minded. I've spent every day of the past 600 years here on this perch. It will be over my stone-cold dead shards. I don't know, they say body. It'll be over my dead rubble if you will get past me. That's what it means to be single-minded, maybe. But like, give me something a little bit. Speech gravelly, snapping, woldish, liturgic. Surprise. When a gargoyle stands still and statue-like, opposing side has a 4 and 6 chance of being surprised. Okay, is there no initiative in Dolmenwood? I don't know. So how would I do that? If you roll a single digit on initiative, you go last. That could be cool. Construct, immune to biological effects, or maybe just sort of like disadvantage on initiative. That'd be an even easier way to do it, and then you can go in any order that you want. Construct, immune to biological effects. Okay. So I would say immune to. So just to save it from being dropping to 3 lines, immune to biological effects, immune to biological or mind-altering effects. Disease, vapors of dream, dominate, and then that would only be 2 lines. Immunities only harmed by magic or magic weapons. That's a style thing. I don't love that. But I mean, if you smack this thing hard enough with a hammer, that's gonna crack it. That's how gargoyles were carved in the first place, right? Like, someone with a chisel and a hammer, they're chipping at it. Magic resistance +2 bonus to saves against effects of magical origin. Dark sight can see normally. Alignment. Okay. Appearance. Okay. So all of this. So is this just a bag of 18 hit points that attacks 3 times? I mean, like, this is it's slightly different than a bag of 18 hit points that attacks 3 times because it sits still. It's like, is the only way to differentiate between these monsters, like, what their immunities are? I think I need to look at least one more to be able to tell. All right, let's look at the gelatinous Hulk. 20 feet tall, humanoid mounds of transparent jelly arise at night to wander in the dark. To wander the dark in search of delectable morsels. Ooh. What a perfect phrase. Delectable morsels. Fungi, fairies, and magical items. Pursue relentlessly when food is scented. Cool. I like that. A late 36 hit points. Attacks 2 grasps. +7 hit. Oh, this is a big boy. +7 hit. 2d6 plus dissolve. Okay, what does dissolve do? Dissolve. Metal. So anytime you have to, see this other thing, now you have to find the next thing, and now it's down here. Why not just have this here? Attacks 2d6 on hit, dissolve. Metal that touches the gelatinous Hulk, or weapons that strike it, and armor it grasps is dissolved. Magic items. Does that just mean destroyed? Items have a 50% chance of being unaffected per touch. Yeah. Can't see normally without light. Hoard, none. Possessions. Floating inside torso, 1 in 4 chance of magical items. Cool. Behavior, peaceful, relentless. So it's peaceful, but also relentless, and it's like trying to grab this guy. I would pick a lane. Immunities, suffer half damage from magical weapons. Okay, half damage. Adventure parties with favored food among them, see below, are in grave danger. Once a gelatinous Hulk scents food within 6 feet, it'll stop at nothing to get a hold of it. Otherwise, it must be peaceful. Seep. Okay, I can do that. Favorite foods. All kinds of psychedelic fungi, which they snuffle up in great swaths. I love that. Fairies and demi-fae. Alchemical brain. The spongy green brain of the gelatinous Hulk is prized by alchemists. Metal weapons are destroyed. I like that the art lighting implies a gelatinous cube, then you get details of the hands of human form. Yeah, that is kind of cool. So maybe it's just like an OSR thing where like the monsters are all sort of like very, very similar. I think it's the same with like Shadow Dark, where the monsters are all the same kind of things. So Gladiator has this many hit points and attacks. And a Knoll has this many hit points and attacks. But it can rage once per day, immune to morale checks, and it deals a little bit more damage. Goblins, they can't be surprised. So like they just have like one little thing differentiating them. Maybe that's just the style. Cloud Giant. All right. 48 hit points. Attacks 3 times with a Morning Star. I think that's what that means. Alert. Advantage on checks to detect sneaking or... All right. Well, I think we've got. I think I've got enough to go on. Monster rumors. Ooh, this is cool. Barrow Bogey. This is cool. I like having rumors and things. That's sort of like quest hooks. Yeah, OSR and all the flavor of the tables below said like at least for me. What makes this individually unique? Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's all based on the situation, I guess. Like you find this bag of hit points, like harassing a fisherman, or sneaking up on someone, or like doing that kind of thing, which is cool. But it's like the kobold has basically the same number of hit points and does basically the same amount of damage as like a goblin, right? 1d6, 3.5 damage for the goblin. 1d6 plus 2. So what is that? 3. That's like it's going to deal 5 damage on average. The kobold is going to deal 4 damage on average, and 12 hit points, 15 hit points. So kobold, goblin, right? So they're basically the same thing, but like this one simple little ability, this one simple little ability, like makes them feel and play very, very differently, right? And then if you have a kobold clanger, like you bunch have so maybe the first encounter is just with a bunch of kobolds, and like you're learning their cool little ability. Oh, anytime you kill one of them, like they attack you back, like they want to get even with you. And then you add like a clanger, like he doesn't do any attacks, but he makes everybody else deal a lot more damage. Like, oh no, we have to get this guy first. Oh, but he's got heavy armor. We have to figure out like which one of us is best at taking this guy out, right? And we have to worry about our positioning, because if you're within 2 spaces of any other kobold, like you're going to take damage when you kill like this one kobold. So like they're going to be swarming and trying to like act as a team, right? Whereas these guys with basically the same stats, they're going to be running in and out of combat, like trying to provoke opportunity attacks because they want to laugh at you. And like, I think in the upcoming monster book, we will have that instruction rather than have it subtly like, oh, if this is the ability, I want to trigger this ability. It's going to say like, goblins run in and out of combat. They want to laugh at you more than anything else. So like these guys are going to be like absolute chaos on the field, even though their stats are basically the same. Like just because of like one or two little things. And then a goblin with a taskmaster, like there's just gonna be tons and tons of goblins. Like you got to take this guy down quick. But like if there's goblins there, like he's gonna be interposing. So like there's I think how each monster can be very simple, like a single level attack, a single level ability. But when you start layering them, like all of a sudden, like the GM is going to feel like a tactical genius without having to be a tactical genius, right? It's going to feel so fun and so different, right? Okay. Well, I think that is it for this stream, you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I don't know if it's been helpful or not. I think I've got some cool ideas, but I think we'll end it there. Thank you so much. See ya.